Hey everybody, welcome to Analog Stick Radio, episode 3, and here's a fun fact for you. If you lift a kangaroo's tail off the ground, it cannot hop. I'm your host, Mitch, and I am be joined always with my lovely cohorts, Dakota.
Hey.
And Chris.
Hello.
Hey guys, so episode 3, we're still here. How you guys feeling? How you guys doing this week?
It's good. I'm happy to be back again.
Awesome. I've been playing some miserable games of League. I'm not a fan.
Really?
But we'll talk about that later in the Metabet. Remember, I had the Metabet, so that whole nonsense.
Yeah.
And other than that, I've actually been playing some Counter-Strike. Still have not leveled up. Still just grinding away and not doing a good job. Dakota, what have you been playing this week, man? How are we in Heroes of the Storm? Let's talk about it.
Let's not talk about it.
God.
I haven't played any Heroes actually all week. I actually didn't do too much gaming. I played a little bit of The Witcher because I bought Metal Gear Solid and I told myself, wait a minute, I still have another humongous single player game to beat and I will not start the next one until I beat the previous. So I gotta finish The Witcher. Witcher 3 is on my list. And then other than that, I've just been watching some Arc streaming. That's about it.
You disappoint me, Dakota. You disappoint me.
Yeah.
Chris, pick me up. Pick me up with something good.
Well, actually, I've only played one game that I added to my repertoire, if you will, of the past 2 weeks. I've been pretty busy these last couple of weeks. Next week, I'm gonna have some time to dedicate to some real gaming. But this week, actually, I buckled down. I got rank 1 in Heroes of the Storm. So
see, Dakota, you see how easy it is?
It's just that easy. Just gotta
make
buckle
it sound
down.
so easy.
It's very easy. Also,
it could be so easy.
Played Fallout Shelter news.
Keep us updated with the brothel.
You uninstalled it.
You can get to the bottom, like I said.
Oh my god!
I've gotten to the bottom with my elevators only, so I need like six floors though. So it's not too many.
So you scienced it. You just drilled down for science.
Yeah. So, but it's only 6 floors that I have. So I cleared out all the rocks. I got elevators going down 6 stories. So I just gotta fill it up with buildings. I reached the cap of dudes that I could have in the cap of dwellers.
Oh my god!
I can have my.
I was gonna say, it's all you can only have a certain amount of dudes, but chicks, it's like whatever.
No, total dwellers.
Wow.
And
well, I was wrong. Hats off.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I played a wonderful game. This actually might relate to our topic later. We'll bring it up. Have you guys heard of Rinse and Repeat?
I have not heard about it. Please inform us and the listeners at home.
Well, Rinse and Repeat is an FPS, a first-person showerer.
I would. Oh wait.
What?
Okay.
Oh, I do remember seeing some screens of this.
Yeah, I saw something briefly about it Monday, and I was like, you know what? I have to check this out. So it's a super indie game. You could download it for free. I don't remember the site right now. You play as a man in a men's locker room shower, and you start.
I'm already excited. You
start off. Some burly dudes come into the shower. They start talking dude talk. It's really funny. It's just like really.
Slow down, Christopher.
I know. It's pretty steamy in there, too.
Am I going to have to put like an NSFW on this
podcast? The water effects are surprisingly really well done, by the way. So, all these men are butt-ass naked. Their special parts are pixelated.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. A little disappointing, but...
How are the money shot effects?
Everybody else's special parts aren't normally pixelated? Should I see a doctor?
You might want to. But, so, they walk in, they're having little conversations. After a little bit, some really sexy music plays. I wish you guys could hear
I don't
this.
like where this is going, Chris.
And a particular buff dude comes in, wearing, like, aviator shades, right? And a beard. And he comes in, and he says a bunch of pre-recorded sounds like, hey, guy, can you wax my biceps? And
Jesus.
From then on, you have to go and start washing this dude down. You hold your mouse, very easy. You wash him. You can't go too fast or too slow because then he gets pissed off at you. So you have to slowly wash the specific area, lather him up real nice.
What is this?
You get graded for it, and then after you get like. This is where the interesting part is. You get like 4 shots at this at first, and then he pretty much, the shower turns off and he leaves. At this point, it brings you to a bulletin board. Like, you're still in the shower, but directs your attention to a bulletin board on the side, and it gives you times of when all these ridiculous like workout sessions are. Like it's like blood yoga and like
what the hell,
gunmetal Pilates or something.
What?
It's ridiculous.
The best part is Chris kept playing past the shower.
Oh yeah.
He's like, what else is there?
I mean, I was
my
totally.
God.
It's unbelievable. So you look at this, but the thing is, you can't play this game again. You can reset the data, so you could start watching the dude right away. The first time you watch the dude, that's off the bat. But from then on, you have to actually look at this at this list of these fake yoga yoga classes, and it gives you a time. Like it'll be like this yoga class is 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Tuesday, and it's the actual date. So the only time, the next time you have to play is you have to log on after 10 a.m. on like Tuesday to watch these dudes after their shower.
What? Why? Why would you want to come back? Why would you want to like schedule dude washing?
I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but
okay,
you get a total of 3 dude washings, and then the ending happens.
Wow!
Oh my God!
Happy ending?
I mean, it's an indie game, and it's very artistic, and I'm just going to leave it at that. It's not what I think it'll lead well into the main topic there.
Wow!
So that's what I spent about an hour of my time with that game.
So next time when I ask you what you played this week, Chris, I'd rather you just tell me nothing. Just say I didn't play anything. Just next time for future reference. Like if you come back and you say you played like the shower with my dad simulator, like I don't want to hear about it. Just let's just move on.
Watch, we'll just here, Mitch. We'll do a dry run real quick. I'll be Chris. Go ahead.
Okay. Hey Chris, what did you play this week?
Not much.
Perfect. And now look where we are. We're on our main topic.
Dudes and showers.
All right, now on to our main topic today. We're going to be talking about games as a storytelling medium. Dakota, why don't you take us away since you seem a little bit more knowledgeable on this topic?
Yeah, I feel really strongly about it. Video games, as we know, they're very special in that they can do 2 things very well simultaneously. They can, 1, act as a game, just like a board game or a card game can, but on the other hand, they can also act as a storytelling medium, like a movie or a book. And I think it's one of the few artistic mediums that can serve those 2 roles simultaneously. And so that's a very special thing that we get to enjoy as gamers about video games. I mean, I guess you could make an argument that some board games are telling a story too, but it doesn't really quite meet what I'm thinking of when I think of storytelling mediums. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that.
I mean, some board games can do that. I mean, but not to a grander sense that like video games can. Video games can really get you fully immersed in the story you're either playing or creating.
Right. I mean, it goes all the way back, you know. I mean, as early as there were video games, there were storytelling video games, even as early as like the Atari. Everybody thinks traditionally of Pong as one of the early Atari games. Another one of the early Atari games was Pitfall. And so even with Pitfall, I mean, you don't have like a narrative, but at least you're playing as a character and doing some sort of thing. And then from there, even on the NES, we really started to see a lot of storytelling video games. Metroid has a pretty solid story.
Right. It's a very
Zelda has a very,
even Mario, even like everyone, Mr. Video Game, Mr. Game Boy, that's a story. Like, you know, he's a plumber. He has a backstory. He has a brother. He's in love with Princess Peach, and he has to go. Like, I mean, there's a story there. Like, it's not deep or like meaningful, but it's there. And he has like brothers, and then like Bowser has brothers. Like, there's story even in Mario.
Yeah, and I think that we've come so far in video games. The ability to tell stories has greatly advanced as technology has advanced, as creativity has gotten more easily expressed through technology. And it really still surprises me to this day when people who don't play games are introduced to storytelling games and go, wow, I had no idea. I've done this with my mom and with my girlfriend with a couple video games. I say, here, look at this. Just watch this for 10 minutes, and they're enthralled. And I think that's really cool. It's interesting. If we were to ask the question, are we past the era where this perception of video games is, oh, that's just light entertainment? I think the answer is no. I don't really think we are past that era of perception. I'm not sure if we ever will be.
from outside of the gaming culture, or just from the gaming culture itself?
From outside. I mean, we as gamers know better, but from outside, it seems as if people still don't get it.
I think that idea might be still pervasive because of, like we mentioned last time, the explosion of mobile gaming. Because people still see those mobile games. That's their, entrance to the gaming world on a day-to-day. They're like, oh, let me pick up Flappy Bird. That's the game everybody's playing. Flap a bird a couple times. They're not buying the Zelda.
There's no story there. Yeah, there's no story in Candy Crush.
Right.
So that may be like the leading cause to it, is that everybody sees gaming as specifically just that. They don't see, like, they're not going to play those, like, The Last of Us style games where you're really deeply immersed and care about these characters.
Right.
I mean, and I don't know. Are we ever going to get to that point where I think that era of perception is ever going to go away? I personally, I don't think so. I think that's always going to be that disparity where people outside of gaming culture are not really going to understand what gaming is doing as a storytelling medium, just as an entertainment medium nowadays.
I feel like it's definitely going to move beyond that. I mean, look where we moved with just esports in general. People used to look at games as like Pong or like just a little time waster. Now it's a multi-billion-dollar sports enterprise.
I guess that's true. Yeah, we're seeing stuff like on ESPN. I know like CS:GO is going to be on ESPN now. I guess I was reading something about that. And you have like Dota 2 was aired on one of the ESPN stations and was talked about on the main station being like more profitable than Wimbledon and all this other stuff.
Exactly. So with it up there in that kind of status, it's going to eventually scooch on over into the storytelling aspect. People are going to start viewing it not from just, a time waster aspect. Now they're viewing it as like, oh, competitive people like to play it. Eventually there's going to be a point where enough people have been immersed in gaming, or it's reached that spot in popular culture where people are going to think, wow, okay, I can maybe, spend some time this weekend instead of with a book. Maybe I might curl up with a video game by the fireplace.
Yeah, I think it comes down to like they need to play the games that have the immersion. I mean, like we could talk about. So there's different degrees of story involvement. Obviously, like you have games like League and Dota who have lore behind the characters, right? But then you have games like The Last of Us or that new game Life is Strange, where that's literally just a story. You're pretty much just watching a movie and kind of like making choices that change the dynamic of the movie and the outcome. But those are two different games, right? They both have story in them, but they're two different games. And I think we're going to need them to start seeing some of these other games instead of just seeing like the big, high competitive games.
Well, yeah, that's another thing. The games you mentioned, it's a big difference between a single player experience and a multiplayer experience. Like from League of Legends and Dota and actually another good example I feel like was kind of Titanfall almost, and even Left 4 Dead. Those games, those are multiplayer based, right? So a lot of times people are going to get on to play around, to like win a match. They're not going to necessarily want to be invested in a character at that moment. So it's there in the background as kind of like, I don't know, a world building to make what you do seem more, more intensive than just pressing Q and W and E and R.
Yeah, I want to talk about that specifically. I mean, you mentioned MOBAs, Titanfall, Left 4 Dead. It's interesting now that these games who don't need a story at all to act as the game that they are, still choose to inject story into them. League and Dota, I think, are really good examples. League, especially, they have like an ongoing narrative where characters come and go. Recently, there was a story beat where Gangplank may or may not have died, and his character was changed dramatically because of a story beat. Why do you think these games do that when they don't need
to? I'm not too sure. I mean, that I never knew that about actually League of Legends. That's like X-Men-esque almost.
Yeah, they released a weekly lore article or whatever that you can read to follow along about what the characters are doing.
I knew that, but like, I mean, when I haven't really been invested in League lately, but I remember that they had a huge lore overhaul where they kind of rewrote the lore. I feel like they have to do this, like I said, to build that sense of immersion, because there's a certain point at which I feel like maybe with competitive sports in the real world, we see the sport happening, like it's fun to root for blue team or green team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the storyline comes from actual people. Like, we get involved with the teams, with the stories behind the players. We don't have that in a game setting unless somebody makes that up.
Yeah, that's true. I know personally, and I think it probably applies to a lot of people, it allows you to get invested in individual characters. So, for instance, in Dota 2, my favorite hero is Slark. And Slark escaped from Dark Reef Prison, and he's got the hots for Naga Siren. And the only reason why I know all this shit is because he talks about it as I walk him around the map. He's constantly talking about his escape and how he's sneaky and which characters he likes and which ones he doesn't like, and it's freaking sweet. And like, it definitely draws me into the game in a way that I wouldn't otherwise be drawn into.
You know what's great? I love what they do in Heroes of the Storm. I mean, I guess it's good in Dota, but at least in Heroes of the Storm, especially for me, I played the original Warcraft. Like, I've been with Blizzard for a while.
I mean, so have I. Come on now, get off your high horse. There are a lot of us out there.
I'm just saying from my perspective, and Mitch too. Mitch and I both have played Warcraft since the beginning. There you go. And because of this, when those characters meet, like you have Arthas and Uther meeting on the battlefield in like Heroes of the Storm, they go next to each other, they'll have a little quip at each other, or like Raynor and Tychus, it'll be like, just like old times, and like, you like old times, you're like, yes. I remember, because they're like friends in the games.
And this is something that I think started with Dota 2 heavily, and then League picked it up, and now that Heroes is getting into it, Heroes is doing it too. If you go on
League's
Dota Wiki,
yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, if you go on like Dota 2 Wiki, the hundreds, maybe even thousands of sound files that all the characters have, and contextually based on who they're near and what they're doing and who's in the game and who they killed and who they assisted, it's mind-blowing.
Well, they're doing that with League too. They just released the entire soundbite for this new character, Kindred, and apparently, like, she's got this whole backstory, or are they, because it's a sheep and a wolf, and something about splitting themselves in two. They have this whole backstory, and they have this whole, like, this whole sound clip is like 16 minutes long, and it just says every time they're next to somebody, or they killed this person, or they, like you said, they assist that person, it's a completely different sound clip. And that is insane. Like, that amount of immersion into one specific character applied to across all other characters in the game, that blows my mind that is even a thing that exists.
Yeah, and really, I think what this is video games, like I said earlier, have the capacity to deliver on these two pillars, story and gameplay. And it's like a game like Dota is heavy gameplay, but if they do no story, they're basically leaving a lot of value on the table. And so they say, okay, why not? We can bolster how awesome our game is just by filling in a little, story beat here and there, and there you have it. Now it's delivering in a way that other art forms can't.
I feel like beyond Dota and League, you have games that are more invested in story than even competitive nature. Like Left 4 Dead, for instance, is a great example, I feel, of they have the level, basically. The level is a storyline in itself. Actually, before the level, they have a movie poster. Basically, it's the zombie game, and on the movie poster, it says, like, I don't know, Swamp Fever. And then, so that's like a level where they're trying to get out of the swamp. And then they have little talking to each other, and they change it up every time, so every time it's a little bit different. But it really gets you feeling like, this is fun, and I'm playing with my buds, we gotta go through this thing, as opposed to just running through a random swamp, like shooting zombies, which is fun in itself, but when you give a little story to it, it really makes you elevate what you're doing.
Well, see, my answer for this question that you asked, like, why do I think that there is story in games that don't really require story, like, it's kind of more just an added bonus, I don't think it's because of the immersion so much as it's just like, at the core of almost every single game we all play, it's essentially a role-playing game, and it's that element, right? The role-playing game. You're not just playing like this hero that can attack people, you're playing like Caitlyn, like the sharpshooter sheriff from Peltover, or whatever the frick she's from. Like, you're playing her, and so you're getting involved in it. And when you're playing Left 4 Dead, like, you're not just playing like you're shooting zombies. You're this team of 4 people that got stuck in a mall or something, and now, or the stop of a thing, and you get involved, and you start playing the role that you are signed up for, and it allows you to kind of like escape from reality for a second, which is what we take from movies. It's a kind of like escape from our current reality into whatever reality that movie throws us in, or a book, whatever reality that throws us in. I think that's why there's story there, to kind of like remove you from life and make you become that main character.
Yeah. So we have like these highly competitive technical games on one end of the spectrum, and they still have story. But on the other end of the spectrum, we've got games that are 100% dedicated to story-driven games, oftentimes point-and-click adventures or just adventure games. What do you guys think about those? I've not played very many of them. I've played The Walking Dead one season, I think, but that's it in recent history. What about you, Mitch?
I actually haven't had much experience with these as well. I saw a couple of people playing them at a LAN center that I used to go to a lot, and they looked really interesting. I just didn't really get the concept. Every time I looked over, it looked like there was a cutscene, and I didn't understand what was happening. But then you take a game like Life is Strange. That one actually really caught my eye since they just released their fifth and final chapter of Life is Strange. That one really, really caught my eye, and that's actually probably one when the fifth chapter comes out, I'm going to pick up. It seems really interesting because it takes that story, instead of just like having you go through this game, and I don't necessarily know how Walking Dead and Game of Thrones do it, but the way that this game does it is you make decisions and they change the outcome of the story, and you're trying to like accomplish an actual, like I guess like a main storyline that you want to accomplish, but if you do things, I guess like wrong, like the storyline changes, and like maybe like there's a character that is supposed to stay alive that dies in the way that you did it.
That's
so
exactly.
So now you have to go backwards, and you have to like do it again and try to make that person not die because they're a key element of the main storyline.
That's different than Walking Dead. The Walking Dead, it's very similar. You have a character, you meet a bunch of characters. What decisions you make, sometimes you have to make. I really like what Walking Dead did, especially because most point-and-click adventure games, you like get a choice and you have a lot of time to decide. Like, maybe we should go left, maybe we should go right. Well, in Walking Dead at least, there were very quick time almost actions where you have to choose this person or this person. Who are you going to save? And depending on who you save will affect the next 4 episodes of this game. Like the rest of the game, you're going to be out a character. You're going to develop a different relationship. You're going to have a whole different story.
Yeah, right, I mean that's interesting. Like there's two sides of it. I think Life is Strange took that normal, like I think that's the way that most story-driven games are. You make decisions, and then based on your decision, the storyline changes. But the way this one is kind of like pitched, I guess, is there's a main storyline. I guess they're trying to get you to get on, and like so the way that they do it in the trailer is this girl is going through a school day. She goes in the bathroom, and like this girl is getting attacked, and then she gets shot in the stomach, whatever. And then all of a sudden she wakes up and she's back in class earlier that day, and now she has to like change her decisions to see if she can change the outcome of this girl's life. And like that to me was insane. I was like, that's such a crazy concept for a game to like try to tell you a story, but try to like almost persuade you into the right story, I guess, which is again another take on story-driven games.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to spin that, because basically these games come down in one of two ways. They're like how Chris described The Walking Dead, where you can make decisions that will dramatically affect the storyline, and the game just lets you do it. Or they're like, I don't know, Everyone's Gone to the Rapture, where you can't change the story. You just get to see the story unfold.
I was going to go there. I've never played Everyone Gone to Rapture. Have you guys ever played Dear Esther?
No, but isn't it by the same people? I think it might be.
It might be. I mean, Dear Esther came out a while ago. I say I played it, but that game, that's not a game as so much as an experience. That at that point, that's when you have to decide what is a game. Well, and Dear Esther, I don't know if you know what this is. Basically, it's some people call these walking simulators.
I was going to make sure you mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah, because you start the game with a brief narrative, like a brief blurb from a character that I believe you're the main character, and you're getting a little blurb paragraph from this main character. You walk around this island, and that's it. As you slowly walk around, it's pretty predetermined where you're going to go. There's some, like, you could kind of turn left a little bit and look at the scenery a little more, or turn right and like look at this particular log, but you're going to walk along this main path, and it's pretty much an on-rails story. It's as close to a movie that we're going to get. It's not a game as more as an interactive story. It's what I think of. Like, that's where, when we were originally talking about how games can move from what people look at as just a silly time diversion to an engrossing medium, this would be a game that you could give to, like, maybe even your grandparents to play, because all they have to do is literally walk around, and experience the story, look at the beauty, and take from it what they will.
It's interesting. Like you said, you didn't consider it a game, and that's a kind of a controversial topic, whether or not these are games, quote unquote. And it's like, okay, who's to decide what the definition is? So that's your take on it. I'm curious to hear what yours is, Mitch, and then I'll let you know what I think.
I guess that's just a different way of I think it's still a game. You're still experiencing. Games have gone so far. Like we've got games like this stupid shower dudes off game. Like, that's a game. Like, it's not really a game, but it's a game. Like, sure, like everything that you're interacting and role playing with, and that it's a game.
You're doing more gameplay in that game than you are in Dear Esther.
Yeah, Dear Esther, there is literally no choice. I feel like at least in the game there has to be some kind of
maybe that's
choice.
True. Yeah, you need to have an input.
Yeah, because in Dear Esther, you can. I feel like it's an experience because you can stop and look at the sunset for a little bit longer than somebody else and get a little bit more out of it. But that's not going to change the way it ends up. It might change how you view the storyline, but it's not going to make an impact on anything. Walk around.
Here's an interesting question. Maybe this is informing how I feel about these. Chris, when you're playing Dear Esther, can you lose the game?
You can. There is a place where you can kind of die, but it instantly respawns you with like a voice.
Interesting.
There's a point. I'm not going to get into what the story is, but it's pretty much like
there's
spoilers. A point where you could if you swim too far into this one area, you could kind of drown, and you're instantly respawned on the thing, on the bank.
I think that's kind of critical for me. Like I said, games are supposed to be able to offer you experiences in both gameplay and story. And Dear Esther sounds like it gives you story, no doubt, but I don't think it gives you gameplay. I don't think holding forward and pressing A when you get to a glowy interactive is a game.
What I believe
maybe it is, though. Maybe it is.
What I believe a step up from that is Stanley Parable. Have you guys played this?
Well, that's a completely different scenario. Like you have choices. No, you can choose where to go and what to do.
I want to make sure that this is if you've never played Stanley Parable, it's important. I guess you should cover your ears for the next.
No, we're not going to spoil it. Basically,
don't spoil it. I haven't even played it, but I know what it's about.
Basically, you can make choices in the game, and the game responds.
Right.
Simple enough. Like, but that's a different type of game. Like what Dakota's saying is like if your inputs are literally just walking around and maybe pushing A, does that classify as a game? Like, if you're not really impacting anything at all and you're just watching a movie that you push forward through, is that really a game?
Right, and consider the fact that the Stanley Parable is a commentary on the genre. Dear Esther is the butt of the joke that Stanley Parable is making.
Yes. Right, exactly. I don't think it classifies as a game. I'm gonna put my foot down.
I don't think Dear Esther is the butt of the joke Stanley Parable made. I think the illusion of choice in games is the butt of the joke Stanley Parable made. Dear Esther is at no point in that joke, because at least Stanley Parable, you have to make choices. In Dear Esther, you literally do nothing. You don't even have a choice to press A. There's nothing to inspect.
Okay, that's a fair point.
Then I think that becomes more of like a movie that's for the PC or something. I don't know. Like that's weird. That's a strange one. That's an interest. That's kind of an outlier. I don't know what happened there.
Some people call more of those coming out with Dear Rapture.
Yeah, everybody's gone to the Rapture. Yeah, people like them enough. Dear Rapture, I'm holding you to it. People like them enough that they keep getting made. Although, if I remember correctly, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture didn't get panned, but it was not received like with all the praise that Dear Esther was. Like, I think it was kind of like a one-trick pony. Okay, Dear Esther came out. Oh, it's an interesting story. You have ideas, but then when Everybody Came to the Rapture came out, I listened to Zero Punctuation's review, and he said, okay, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. I'm going to walk around for a couple hours and find out that everybody's gone to the Rapture. Maybe. Why did I just waste my time? And I don't think I have to say the spoiler tag on that, because the damn game is called Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. So if you're surprised by conclusions that may or may not be somewhat similar to that, I'm not sure what to tell you.
I'm going to make a quick defense. I never played this game, but apparently the developers made a big mistake where the pacing of the game was completely thrown off. It was supposed to go a little bit faster because there was an option to run, but it was like you had to hold down the analog stick
for 7 seconds.
Yeah, for like 7 seconds before it would start running, and it didn't explain that to you. So it was kind of like a lot of these people felt like the game took long, the pacing was terrible, but it might have been because their lack of input into interaction.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So Dear Esther and Everybody's Gone to the Rapture are definitely on that end of the spectrum.
Yeah, they are definitely on that end of the spectrum for sure.
What's cool now is with the advancement in technologies and monies going into games, these big AAA titles are able to invest huge budgets and have like movie tier quality production levels. And I'm talking voice acting, motion capture, soundtrack. And that's my favorite thing about how video games have been able to express themselves as a storytelling medium.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. It's definitely something that's kind of changed in the gaming industry. We're seeing it happen in a lot of different games, throughout the years, and it's something that I'm really excited to see as we carry forward. What we can do with it as technology keeps getting better and better, and as these industries keep blowing up to these huge expanses, where we go from here. You know what I mean? Let's talk about some of these games that are actually moving into these high quality production elements. Dakota, give me some of your favorites. I know you got a lot to say about some of them.
Yeah, dude, The Last of Us just came out.
I have not played that yet.
Yeah, it came out a couple years ago. I won't ruin anything for you. I played it for the first time 2 years ago, and I just recently played it again. I think this game might be my new favorite game of all time.
Of all time? You're going to make that statement?
Yeah, my claim.
That's a real bold statement.
It is a bold statement, and I think it has a lot of merit. The Last of Us is able to deliver on these two pillars of video gaming, gameplay and story, in a way that is just so absolutely amazing in both respects, and that's what makes it great. It's got good gameplay, that's a given. It's a third-person shooter at its core, and it's got some stealth elements, but they don't feel like forced or an afterthought like they sometimes do in these games. Really genuinely fun stuff. Part of the fun in the game is the tension, almost like horror genre tension, as you move and try to sneak around these zombies. It's a zombie survival game at its roots. And the reason why the tension is so real when you play the game is because you really care about the characters. And the reason you care about the characters is because the production and storytelling is off the charts. Neil Druckmann is the writer. He just did absolute bomb work on the script. The characters are awesomely acted by Ashley Johnson. She's been in movies. And Troy Baker, who's basically one of the two big names in video game voice acting right now. They do amazing work acting out the two main characters of the game. And all this comes together just to make, oh my God, Mitch, you've got to play the game.
Well, dude, if it ever came out on PC, I would play it in a heartbeat. I'm sure there's like a billion people that feel the same way, that like if they brought it off console and onto PC, I'll buy it immediately.
Yeah, and do it. Since you mentioned it, I'm going to tell you right now, we'll have to include this in the show notes. There's this guy on YouTube named Grant Vogtel. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Sorry.
Looks like it's spelled Vogel. Vogel, just like with a bunch of unnecessary letters.
Yeah, exactly. He went and did a kind of like a let's play, a playthrough of the game, but it's not a let's play where you have some annoying German in the corner of your screen talking nonsense. It's just him playing the game silently, but he edited all of his footage to make the gameplay as cinematic as possible. And not only does that mean like he does a cold open and then he has credits as if it's a TV show and then has like another 35 minutes of gameplay. So he makes, I think there's 7 episodes in his whole series, makes the story play out like a TV show. He played scenes in the game over and over and over and over in order to get the best shots. So it really does feel cinematic.
He like directed the game.
He really did, yeah. And he played with no HUD, so you don't get any video gamey HUD stuff going on. So you can experience the game at its finest as a story like that.
But I want to play it though. I want to play it.
It's good.
You said there's like sneaky elements. I want to feel sneaky.
Well, if you can't get your hands on a PlayStation, I urge you and anybody who hasn't played the game to go check out this YouTube series. We'll include the links in the show notes.
Yeah, we definitely will. For me, one of my favorite games that's doing this right now, BioShock was one of my top 3 favorite games of all time. And I'll make that statement. The first BioShock, and I know a lot of people agree with me, was just awe-inspiring how great that game was. It was definitely a big thinking person's game.
Yes.
And then BioShock Infinite came out, and I remember watching the previews for this game and my jaw just hitting the floor and then going through the floor. I mean, it was
so
insane.
glad you said that, because to me, BioShock Infinite, while
Wait. I haven't played that one yet.
I won't give anything away.
Yeah, we're not going to spoil it. There's no
not-
spoilers on this cast. We're not going to be a spoiler cast here.
The gameplay was just okay. I don't think it was as good as maybe BioShock 1. But that being said, that storyline behind The Last of Us might be my second favorite video game story of all time. That shit is bananas.
And again, that has to do with the production quality, but also like the voice acting in that game was incredible. You cared about the characters so much that like it was ridiculous. Not only that, but like just visually, that game was so appealing to all of your senses. It was disgusting. And for me, I thought the gameplay was perfect. I thought the gameplay it was very reminiscent to BioShock, like the first one, not the second one. It was very reminiscent to the first one, and I loved the first BioShock.
Both of these games, The Last of Us and BioShock Infinite, do the same thing to make you care about the characters. They have excellently coded AI for your companion, because in The Last of Us you play as Joel and you have Ellie as your companion, and in Infinite you play as Booker, also by the way voiced by Troy Baker, and you
of course.
and you have your companion. Do you remember her name?
Some generic girl's name. Some generic girl's 50s name. Or something.
But the relationship between the pair is what makes the story so strong, right?
Right. While still like developing the actual overarching storyline of the entire universe that they've put you in, and while also delivering on a very, in my opinion, like a very interesting level of gameplay, like putting the hooks on the rails and all that stuff. I thought that was incredible. Like it wasn't difficult. It wasn't like hard to do or like complicated. It was just like fun to do. You were just like so.
It's solid.
So interactive.
It's
the
solid.
game was interactive.
Yeah. What about you,
Chris? What about you? Like a big budget storytelling game that's like getting really, really a lot of buzz.
You know, a game that I think had great value in a different way, that because you're talking a lot about characters, like getting involved with the characters. I feel like a game like Skyrim had ridiculous production quality.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But for me, I felt that story aspect is pretty hit or miss. The amount of quality in there is tremendous, and what's there is great. But this now I feel comes down to gameplay here, because I'm in a camp of people. I'm a completionist. I like to do stuff. Like I like to, if I see something that isn't done, that my like quest log isn't checked, I check it. Like
you're the guy that wants 100% achievements.
Not even 100%. I just like to explore, and if I see something, I'm gonna do it. Like that's what I'm gonna do. I don't need to get like the random, you have to run across the world naked achievement. But like an actual gameplay achievement wise, like for me what's important is if I see something, I want to do it. So when I played Skyrim, I did all these side quests and I really enjoyed it, and the music was fantastic. The sound was gorgeous. The vistas, like it was unbelievable. But when I realized, oh, I'm missing the main storyline, then I kind of was like, oh, well, hold on. And then so I go back and I try and do this epic storyline with these dragons, and I'm just like clobbering them. Like I'm just like, boop, one shot, you're all done.
What dragon? That was just a big bird.
Yeah. I feel like the storyline, the production can create an amazing story, but the gameplay backing it has to really be solid.
Well, yeah, obviously. I think that's what you're getting from Last of Us and BioShock. The gameplay was good in both of those games as well.
Maybe not gameplay, but maybe I think maybe pacing is more what I'm looking for.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I don't know if I'm in the minority or if this is controversial, but in my opinion, the actual gameplay in Skyrim sucks balls. I mean, like, you can wield 1.5 spells at a time. The melee is super clunky. It's an interesting thing. I love those games. I enjoy the hell out of them. I did what you did, Chris. I went all over the goddamn map. I still have not beaten the single player campaign in Skyrim, but I've gotten like several of the legendary weapons. That is so much more fun to me than the story, because I did not care about the story. A bunch of hooded dudes in like a dragon clan. I was just bored to tears.
Guys, I did the same thing. I didn't complete the storyline either. I ran off in a random direction and started learning magic at some random temple.
That's the coolest thing that you can do in those games.
Hours. Like, I just found the magic temple and did it for like days at a time.
You just pick a cardinal direction and go. And the fact that you can have entertaining gameplay because of that is what makes Skyrim awesome. I don't think it's the gameplay.
I'm so giddy that we all just said, fuck the main storyline. I'm going over there.
I'm doing the same thing with The Witcher right now. I've had the game for 3 months. I mentioned I was trying to beat it. And for me, I'm like, I got to do all the side quests, man. I'll open up my quest log, find the lowest level quest I have, and go do that one, just to make sure I do them all, and I do them in level order.
You know what's a game that like, this is the... for me, my top game, and probably a lot of people's. I guess this is like almost like a cliche top game, but I mean, I guess I don't have a top game. Top five in no particular order. Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
This game,
well,
at the time, blew my 5th grade year old. I don't know how old you are. Mind, like, on
5th grade year old.
Yeah,
oh my
I'm
God.
trademark 5th grade year old. Chris Limited. Okay, so my 5th grade year old mind splattered across the wall because there was no, at that time, the adventure games were top down. You saw things, you got to see the horizon. You got on a horse, you got to explore everything. And what I feel is great in a lot of Nintendo games is this mute protagonist. This is in a lot of, every Zelda games, Link never talks.
Right.
Samus, except for that newest Samus that nobody likes to talk about.
The one that was
she
made
never
by the
talks.
Ninja Gaiden people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about that one. Nobody talks about it. Okay, sorry. So, nobody talks. What another one is Half-Life 2.
I was just gonna say that Morgan Freeman doesn't say a word.
And the original Half-Life. Gordon Freeman and Portal.
Yeah.
Portal. You get so invested in these stories with a mute protagonist because it's really, I mean, it's kind of a ridiculous idea that this person isn't speaking at all, but these games are crafted in such a way that they don't need to speak. Your reaction, your feelings to it, and the way that the characters kind of move you on, you are in control of the emotions of the game.
That's
you don't
right.
have a script to read from.
I think games that have mute protagonists are trying to achieve exactly that. They're trying to make the suspension of disbelief that you are that character easier to swallow. I think they're trying to make it easier to say, I'm Link. And I didn't open my mouth and say anything, so I was the character. Right,
they're immersing you in that main character. They're forcing you to be the main character.
Right.
Which is what we were talking about last week, and which is one of the best things about storytelling games, or these fully immersive story like games. And I think I love games with Half-Life 2 is easily, I'd say, number one for me. Half-Life 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. Like, that game is so wonderfully well done, and the way that they transition between like giving you some storyline to like making you do something ridiculous, I love it. Again, that's another game where it has some really good production value, but it also has really good gameplay.
I got a question. I'm going to preface my question with another question. Can I still be on the podcast no matter what?
Oh, here it is.
Oh God!
Here
I'm
it is.
gonna
Guys
I'm gonna answer your question with a question. Maybe.
What would
Question
you guys
mark?
say if I told you I've never played Half-Life 2?
Get out right now.
no.
Okay, so we're gonna
This
start.
is-
We're gonna start looking for a new co-host.
Okay,
Dakota's
send
gonna
in
be
your
leaving the show.
submissions.
Yes, send him your submissions. We need a new co-host.
No.
Must have played Half-Life 2.
This is
what I'm
actually
gonna do.
a much better. This is a much better position, I feel, than what I was originally. I was gonna. If you said you didn't like Half-Life 2, I would have turned
I'm
off.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm out.
Well,
Peace
see,
out.
I'm going
I
to do
can
what
res-
Mitch is going to do with Life is Strange. I'm going to wait till the 3rd episode comes out before I start playing the second.
right.
I actually read something online that it was confirmed somewhere. I read it online, and you can't post lies on the internet.
That's
so.
true.
Oh yeah,
That's
I read
true.
that
Yeah.
by
God.
Abraham Lincoln wrote that quote.
I'm going to say this right now, and I'm going to get a lot of flack from it. I don't even care. I genuinely hope they don't make Half-Life 3 because it will ruin one of the best games I have ever played. Because there's no possible way at this point, unless that game comes out and also comes with a free pile of gold bricks, it's not going to meet expectations anymore. It just won't. There's so much hype.
The thing is, there's a lot of hype, but I feel like lately on the internet, I felt like there's been a lot of dissenters. Because when I played Half-Life 2, I was like fresh. I was a senior, I think, in high school. I got it as soon as it came out. Right.
So your 12-year-old mind.
Yeah, my 12th. I was 12th-year-old.
12th grade.
My 12-year-old brain was, it was matured pretty much at that moment. So I played this game, and at the time, there was it set the precedent for so many other games in a lot of like physics-based things like that. So I feel like everybody who played it around that time and a little bit afterwards got it. You know what I mean? Like, it's still a great game. It stands on its own. It might be a little bit uglier, but it's still an amazing game. People now try and go back to this game with the mindset of today's standards in storytelling, in gameplay, and I feel don't get a lot of the same sense of what that story told at the time of the gaming culture.
Well, they're stupid, and they should feel bad for their opinion. No, they
I
should feel bad for their opinion. I'm sorry.
I could understand where they're coming from, and I feel like I think a little bit over time, like we're past the point of hype is so ridiculous, and I feel like we're on the downward spiral where people are like,
you know what?
I don't understand why
I need two new co-hosts now, so I'm gonna need a lot of submissions, guys, because I'm getting these guys. I don't know where did I get you guys from?
So I'm saying we're past the hump of where people are like, this game is so high, I can't wait for it, to where some people have gotten to the age where they're starting to play games that they never played that were in the past now. They've gotten to the age where like, oh, everybody's talking about Half-Life. I wonder what that was when it came out.
You're making me feel old. I need you to stop it.
Yeah.
I need you to stop
it.
So
I think we have a lot of good examples of what makes an excellent story-driven game. So I think maybe homework for each of us and the listeners is to find a game that you think is easy for somebody to get into, either to play or just to show that has an awesome story, and introduce somebody new to it. I did this with like I said, I just played through The Last of Us for the second time. I played through it with my girlfriend watching. She watched the whole thing and she was like enthralled. So go do it, man.
That's awesome. Well, actually, bringing this up, I actually recently informed a friend of mine that I play Magic the Gathering with that he didn't even realize that there was a story involved in that game. He had no idea. And he's like, how did you know this about, I was telling him something about like how a character had died in the story. And he's like, how do you know that? I was like, oh, there's a card like that. The card like actually embodies this point in the story where this character dies.
Right.
And he's like, how do you know that? I'm like, look, read the little flavor text at the bottom, and it tells you like a little bit of the story, and you can see in the picture that character is getting stabbed in the chest. Like, they're dead. And he's like, holy crap, I didn't even know that. So he comes back like a week later, and he's like, holy crap, the Magic the Gathering storyline is insane. I'm like, yes, it is. And it's actually gotten to the point now where they've changed their entire business structure around making the storytelling a lot better. They've used to do 3 blocks, and now they're doing 2, just so they can tell stories better. And I'm pretty sure I read this and I saw like a little preview thing. They're making a movie out of the Magic the Gathering storyline.
Really? Wow,
which is insane.
That's interesting, but I feel like that's a much different medium than video games. Like, you're still playing this game and you're kind of invested in these characters in this world. But is it the same kind of interactivity you'd get in a game? I don't think it is.
It's not quite the same interactivity, but it does illustrate the same point we're making, where you have a game that's able to offer gameplay, but it's also able to offer a storyline.
Yeah, you have some people that like there's a thing when you're talking about competitive playing Magic where you should not get attached to these cards because like you're trying to play competitively. But there are people who play casually who get attached. Like, oh, this is my Elspeth. Like this is her. Like my Elspeth. Like I don't want to lose. Don't kill my Elspeth. Come on, I love her. Like that's a thing that happens. And I think it's a very interesting. I just thought it was a really interesting way to tell a story. Like through the printing of cards in multiple sets, you're not really telling the story in any sort of particular order. You're just saying, here's all the stuff that happened. Like, you kind of piece it together and figure it out.
Yeah.
And I love that. That's such an interesting, like, here's a bunch of puzzle pieces. Figure out how the story went. That's so awesome.
Yeah,
like,
the
that's a
design and
very
creative
dynamic
team on Wizards of the Coast, highest praise to them, because that's a real challenge, being able to tell a story amongst 250 cards in illustration and flavor text, out of order, simultaneously, and still have some sort of cohesive narrative where people who are really into it can do what you did with your friend and say, hey, look at that card, or here, look, this is Crux of Fate, this is when a dude went back in time and killed a bunch of dragons, and that kind of stuff is really interesting.
You know what this kind of reminds me of in a weird way? It reminds me of Halo story. I feel like, because what you're talking about is they have the flavor text for all these cards, but you will have to go out and kind of research all these different things. Like in Magic the Gathering, I feel, I've never played it, but you don't have access to all these cards because some of them are very expensive and rare. But in Halo, everybody was always raving about the story. I never liked any of the Halo games because I grew up in I was more PC shooter, so I grew up in Unreal, Quake. Halo to me was floaty, slow, and boring. I'm gonna say it. Floaty, slow, and boring.
I mean, people have different opinions and everything.
That's my opinion.
I think ultimately what we can take away from all this is that like storytelling is actually a big part of gaming now. Like it was a smaller part, I think, in older games, and now it's becoming such a big part that we have games that are literally just stories that you play. And I think that's awesome. I think we can all agree that that's awesome.
It is.
But let's move on. So we're gonna let's get into the Metabet this week, because I know people are gotta be excited. I was miserable this week. I hated it so much. Oh my god!
Why'd you hate it, Mitch? I thought you were doing all right.
I mean, I was doing okay. So if in case you were wondering, last week I lost the Metabet. Chris ended up winning. So Chris's challenge to me was to only play top in League. And you guys don't know this, or maybe you do from listening to the last episode. I don't play top. When I play League of Legends, which is a 5-person game, I play in the bottom lane, I play support, or I play AD carry. Top is actually the one I don't play ever at all. And I had to only play that, and somehow I was killing it in top lane. I was actually destroying people in top lane. So I forgot there's a little character I used to play all the time back when they came out with that Dominion. There's a character I played called Pantheon. And I got really good at like timing Pantheon's moves and his auto attacks and all this other stuff. And apparently Pantheon is hot shit in top lane right now because everybody's playing that character you were talking about, Gangplank, and Pantheon's a direct counter to him. So I was just crushing people left and right, and actually ranked up this week playing top only. Nice. However, Chris, I'm gonna admit to you right now, I did cheat a little bit. What I did was, there was one time where I didn't feel like trolling. I was last pick. So what I did was I said, well, look, I am gonna have to play top, so I will play support and AD carry. You come up top with me. And so we basically just flipped the lanes, and me and the AD carry went top, and the top laner went bottom, and we fought their top, and the top laner fought their AD carry.
I know, I'll accept that. I felt kind of bad for that challenge because I was kind of on the spot and I was up with it. I didn't really like my idea after I immediately said it because I didn't want you to troll people.
No, I did. So I didn't troll people too much. A lot of people were actually surprisingly really receptive. There was only one game in which I actually had a pretty bad like narrative between a couple of guys. But then I went 7-0 on top and Pantheon, and everyone shut up. So it was,
that's all you gotta do is put up some results.
It was really, really annoying, though. I'm not going to lie to you. I had a miserable week. I'm so excited to play some League of Legends now.
Nice. All right. Well, this week we're going to follow up from last week's bet. Last week we've bet on FIFA 16. Do you guys remember your scores?
I remember Chris and I tied at 87, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I think 87.
Yeah, so you guys both had 87 and I had 80. And today, after 17 critics have reviewed,
he sounds like he's smiling.
Yeah, I know. He already sounds like he's not only he's smiling. I can hear his challenges for both of us, like in the side of his mouth.
The lips peeling away from my teeth because the score is 82, making me the winner.
Wasn't it 82 last week? I think this is rigged right now.
Rigged, dude. Hold on. I think we need a scorekeeper.
Yeah, you know what?
Put in your submissions.
Put in your submissions for a scorekeeper.
We need let's get a submission going again for a scorekeeper.
Yeah, Dakota, you haven't played Half-Life 2. You're cheating over at the Metabet. God.
I'm shady dude,
all right, man. So Dakota, so you won, and Chris and I, we both lost.
You guys both lost, so we can either have you guys do a tiebreaker so only one of you loses, or I can assign you guys both some Metabet shenanigans. What do you guys think?
I'm going to go on record and say that I would at least like to be not the only loser this week. That would make me feel really good.
I would enjoy some co-op shenanigans. I actually have some free time coming up this week.
Okay, co-op shenanigans then. So the games that you guys play together are Rocket League and CSGO. Go. Is that right?
CS:GO and Heroes of the Storm. We play Heroes of the Storm together.
Heroes. What do you guys think? What do you want to?
This is whoa. This is your challenge, sir.
It is my challenge, but I don't really know anything about CS:GO. Can I make you guys use one not op weapon or something? Is everybody using the same weapon?
You can. Okay, so what you can do is you can make us use no grenades.
You know what? It sounds like a lovely idea by your giggles, Mitch. So I think maybe we'll just
no. It's bringing up an inside joke, but it's still a very good and annoying idea.
Okay.
Like it won't hinder us too much. No, yeah, it will.
All right, no flashbangs and no grenades.
Oh, gee, Chris, this is. I might just not have to play CS:GO this week.
Damn.
You gotta let me know how it goes. And so for this week's Metabet, I'm actually gonna step out of this one. I'm going on vacation for the next week. You guys already know, the listeners don't, so it doesn't make sense for me to bet because I won't be playing games. Actually, you know what? No, that doesn't make any sense.
No, you'll be back. Yeah, you'll be back before.
I'm sorry. I was giving you the benefit of the doubt. If I had lost, that would make perfect sense. But since I didn't lose, it doesn't make any sense at all. All right, forget all that. Let's start betting. So this week's
so
bet,
what's the game this week?
Yeah, the game this week is going to be Persona 4 Dancing All Night on the Vita. So I don't know what you guys know.
There's a lot of buzz. There's a lot of buzz about this game.
There is, yeah. Persona is a JRPG. Well, it's a Japanese world. They actually make RPG games and they make fighters too, where all the characters are usually like school-age kids, and then they have like these personas or like these inner spirits that come out and represent them in big, crazy ways. I don't know a damn thing about this game, though. Dancing All Night, I have no idea. I know it's not like a dance beat game.
Yeah, it's definitely not a dance. The title is misleading.
Right.
It is not a dancing game,
right,
at all. But Persona gets a lot of buzz. I know a lot of my gamer friends love Persona.
Yes.
They're big fans of Persona.
Same here. I know people that swear that Persona 4 Golden is one of the best RPGs ever.
Yes, I agree. Yep. Okay, so let's get our numbers down real quick. Write them down. I know what number I'm picking since apparently it's the one that wins every week. So I'll start off. My number is 82.
All right.
Because apparently that's the number.
You know what number I chose?
What number did you choose?
I chose 72.
Oh,
72.
Why?
Chris?
Because I don't know. I feel like this isn't going to be... I don't really do Persona games, but I feel like a PS Vita... I don't know. I'm just getting feeling...
Oh, it's on the Vita. I fucked up. Okay, well, it's okay. 82, it's fine. 82, it's fine. I'm riding it. 82. We're going to go for 3 82s in a row.
All right, we'll see. And my number's going to be 85.
82, 85, and Chris on the 72. I might win this one just based on Chris's stupid 72
You
bet.
might, but you got the fact that you're sandwiched by our numbers, I don't think bodes well for you.
Yeah.
Well, so far, I don't know. Okay, whatever. Whatever. I've lost both weeks so far, so... God.
So your point is invalid.
Yeah, I have no say on this whatsoever. Oh my God. I'm going to lose this. I don't even know how I'm going to lose this, but I'm somehow going to lose it. There's actually, there is no way for me to lose this.
There's no way for you to lose?
There's no way?
If I am, there's no possible way for me to lose.
Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right.
The only way that I can tie for losing with Chris. That's all I can do. Nice. If it's 77?
Yeah.
Yes. If it's 77, we are tied for losing.
Yep, you're right.
But other than that, I cannot lose.
Oh, so I guess being the sandwich, Manwich is the money position.
Manwich is the money position. Now we know. We've broken the Metabet, guys. Episode 3, we figured it out.
There it is.
Figured it out.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's all we got for the day. We broke down some storytelling gaming. We got really, really deep with why Dakota sucks as a person. And we talked about dudes getting showered. That took a really weird turn at the beginning. I promise there will not be dude showering next week.
I won't.
But if you guys want to check us out, we're going to have all of our information in the show notes. You can check us out on Twitter. You can check us out on our website at BitCultures. If you haven't been at BitCultures, retro gamers getting in touch with newer gamers. It's definitely awesome. We have a lot of new articles on there. Dakota writes on there. Definitely go check it out. If you want to get in contact with us, our email address is analogstickradio@gmail.com. It's very hard to remember, so just write it down. And other than that, we will see you next week. It's going to be same time, Thursdays every week, and we'll see who wins this Metabet, and hopefully I don't lose this week. So Dakota, Chris, thanks for joining me. Out there in listener world, thanks for joining me as well, and I will see you guys next week.
See ya.